Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video we'll be doing practice with me for SQL views and SQL CTEs. So let's start with our first question. Let's say we want to create a view called active agents. I'll just press it right here on the screen. Let's say we want to create a view called active agents consisting only so we just want to extract the active Asian agents, and the countries we are specifically looking at would be Japan, China, and Turkey. So we are going to be using our SPY dataset for this. Yeah, so this is it, our SPY dataset. In previous videos, we had talked about how to find this dataset, to import it and all that. So just look at my previous videos for information on that. So the first thing we want to do, usually it's a good practice to try to drop views. So for every news view you want to create, so what drop view does is, in case that view already exists, it kind of deletes it. So that's what drop view does. So first off, we want to drop, suppose we have a view that has that name already, we want to drop it. Then next we create view. The name of our view is active Asians. We create create view as active Asians as. Then at this point we write down the SQL that would draw this out. So let's see, this is our SPY dataset, and let's look at what it looks like. What are the tables? Yeah, so these are the tables. And let's say we want to find information about active Asian agents. So let's look at the agent table. The agent table contains information on, let's see, agent ID, first name, last name, address, country, and salary. But we want to find out if the agent is active, right? So that means they probably have an assignment right now. So because agents are put in teams, and you don't just send one agent out to on an assignment, you send a team out. So we're going to look at the teams table as well. So we have our teams table, and it contains team ID, team name, meeting frequently, but this doesn't tell us whether they are active. So we want to find, yeah, so this is a missions table. So on our missions table, we have our mission ID, mission name, and mission status. This is what we are looking for all the Asian agents that fall into these three countries. So there's something really interesting about this question. I did find that to construct this view, it's possible to construct this view with just the agent table. And then because the agent table has an agent ID, you can simply join it to the missions table because it has an agent ID as well. And then you can pull the mission status, right? But that's why it's important to understand the information that you have on your table, so that you don't just join columns blindly. Because if we did that, it would imply that individuals went on missions. But having the knowledge of our table and out of the SPY dataset, we do know that individuals don't just go on missions, teams go on missions. So we'd have to get to the missions table, but through the teams table, if that makes sense. So that is what we are going to do, and I urge you to also try it out. If you connected the agent table with the missions table directly, you will get a totally different result compared to when you connected the agent table to the missions table through the teams table. So that's what we are going to do. So we are going to select, let's use distinct because we don't want to repeat anything. So I want to select distinct. I'm going to alias my agent table A, so I might as well just put it down. So let's say SPY dot agent A, right? So here I want to pick everything here. So we are going to have A agent ID, A last name. So let's see. Yeah, okay. So agent ID, first name, last name. Let's see, almost everything here. But then because we want to bring in our teams table, so now we want to join SPY. So let's go to the teams table. So this is our teams table. We have team ID, team name, team. We don't have any columns that we can connect to the agents table directly. So let's check our team rel table. We have agent ID. This is great. So we go SPY dot team rel. Let's call it TR, right? So we want to join this on TR dot agent ID equals A dot agent ID. And now we get to the table we actually want. That's the SPY dot team table. We'll just call it T, and we want to join that on T dot, let's see, team ID. I believe this has team ID as well. So we go T dot team ID equals TR dot team ID. Team ID. And this is the point where we then join with the missions table. So let's get back there. So we have missions, and we also have team ID here as well. So we can join, let's say we want to join SPY dot mission. Let's alias it M on M dot team ID equals M dot equals T dot team ID. So equals T, yeah, T dot team ID. So now that we've joined this, we can then select this guy. So we want to select mission status. So let's say so let's look at access ID. So because every agent has whatever status, for example, we have top level agents, we have secret agents. They come with like their level of the kinds of job they do. So we can also select this access ID. So we go dot access ID. There should be an underscore. So okay, and we also want the mission status, but the mission status could be many things. We could have a mission that is no longer going on. So we're going to sort this further though, but let's leave it as it is right now. So this is an access ID. That means if you had looked at this table before now, the access ID is simply just numbers, maybe 1, 2, 3, levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but they have a meaning, and we want to find that. And that would be found, let's see, that would be found in the security clearance table. Yeah, so we have security clearance ID, which is the same thing as the access ID, and then the level. So this is what we want, because for every ID, it tells us exactly the name of whatever levels they are in. So we have to find a way to connect to this. So how do we do that? We want to join the SPY security clearance table, and we are going to join it on this equals this. So let's quickly do that. We want to join SPY security clearance. Let's call it SC, and we want to join it on SC.SCID, which is equals m.access ID. So this is now where the where statement comes in, because at this point I feel like we have everything we need. We can add sc dot s, no, not cs, sc underscore level to this table. So let's see, sc dot. So this is what we want. So this is now where we have where statement, because we want these guys, right? So let's go. I think I will just copy this down. So we have where a that's country. So because we have more than one value, if we were looking for just Japan, we would say a.countries equals Japan, right? But now we have a list of countries. So we would say a.country n. Then we'll copy this down. We gotta change this. Okay, so let's run this to see what we have. Oh, there's a typo somewhere. Okay, let's run this to see what. Yes, this view has been created. We have created this view. So let's see. I'm going to copy out this just to show you one thing before we finalize on this. So I'm just going to cut it out. So let's try accessing that view. Let's select everything from activations. We want to select everything from activations. So let's see. Yeah, so this is it. We have agent ID, first name, last name, country, and all this. So we're interested in this mission status. We have failed, we have pending, we have in progress. So we have completed as well. So if it's in progress, it shows that these agents are active. So we are going to have to adjust this query. And this is why writing a drop statement at first is really important, because once I run this again, I can't have views that are named the same thing. So once I run this again, it drops the previous view we just created, and we have a new view. So so now we have an AND statement, and that mission status is equals in progress. So this is what we want. So now when you run this, okay, so now error already exists. Let's see. Okay, so let me drop this, drop view, then let me paste this. Yeah, so the view has now been created. So I'm just going to delete this now, but if we run that select statement again, we said select everything from active Asians. There's no space from active Asians. Then we should have Asians that are in active duty. So let's see. There you go. Mission status in progress, in progress, in progress, in progress, all true. Okay, this is nice. Let's now move on to our next question. So our next question would just be drawing information from the last view we just wrote, activations. So we want to find out how many active Asians are stationed in Japan or China. How many active Asians are stationed in Japan or China? So what we want to do, how many means we are counting. So we want to count everything. And we want to count out from our view, which we called activations. Activations where country. So we have country in Japan, or China. So if we run this, it should give us oh, my bad. I'm not supposed to have all here. That's funny. Okay. Yeah, so if we run this, we have 303 agents who are either from Japan or China. So our next question. I think I should remove this. Our next question. What is the average salary for an average active Asian agent? So we want to go to the salary column. So we would use an aggregate. Average salary. Yeah, that's it. The average salary is 800,509. That's the average salary. So another question. So we've used that one, should I say that's 3 questions in one to write views and to draw information from the views that we've written. So the next question we are going to be looking at right now will test us on CTEs, common table expressions. So let me put down the question. So we want to find the most prevalent skill possessed by an active Asian agent and how many active Asian agents have that skill. So that's what we'll be looking at right now. That's a long question, so I'll just what is the most prevalent skill possessed by active Asian agents? What is the most prevalent skill almost all the active Asian agents have, and how many active Asian agents have that skill? So let's start. Of course, how do we answer this question? So we want to first find the most prevalent skill. Then we can then find how many active Asian agents have that skill. So first off, remember we have a view, right? So I want to bring up that view, activations, just so that we know what we have already. active agents. That's the name of our view, right? Yeah. So this view gives us information about all the Asian agents, but I don't think it says anything about skills. I just want to be sure. No, it doesn't. It just says something about who they are, where they are from, their salary, mission status, their access ID, and what each access ID is. So how do we plan to solve this? I would say, first of all, create a CTE that draws out the scales in order of frequency, just so that when we select the first one, when we order it and we select the first one, we have the prevalent scale. So we can start with that. So to write a CTE, you start with the width, let's say Asian scale count. That will be the name of our CTE. I think that's a long name, but that's descriptive. Anyway, with Asian scale count as, so this is the point where we start writing, and we write in a bracket for CTEs. So how do we go about that? First off, we want to select. Interesting. So I think we have a scales table. So let me see. Yes, so this is a scales table. So let me see. So we have scale ID and scale name, and we have for the scale rel agent ID and agent scale ID. So I really don't want anything from our views, but I want to make sure that the scales that I select, right, are the scales that match to these people from our views. So let's start by selecting scales, scale name. So we want s dot scale name, and we want the count of it from active Asians. Let me call that, I'll give it an alias of AA, and we want to join. So for active Asians have agent ID, right? Our scale table doesn't. So we want to join let's say SPY dot scale rel, let's call it SR. So I want to join SPY dot scale rel on SR dot scale agent ID, agent underscore ID equals, what do we have here? AA dot agent ID. Okay, so next then we call in skills table. This is join. So we want to join SPY dot scale, give it an alias of S on S dot scale name. No, not scale name, scale ID. Scale ID equals SR dot scale ID as well. So yes, we have scale ID. SR dot scale ID. So let's see. So now we got our scale name, but we want to count. This is an average function, aggregate function, I mean. So think about group by, right? So now let's group by. Now we want to group by S dot scale. And now that we have grouped by, we want to order in descending order, right? So we want to order by the count, but in descending order, right? So we have descending order just so that we have the highest one on top. And then we want to return the first one, so we say limit 1. Right, so with this we have written our CTE. So this is the CTE that extracts the most prevalent scale possessed by an active Asian agent. So the next thing we want, it says how many active Asian agents have that scale. So we are going to find out how many people have that scale. So to do that, let us we want to select so I'm going to use my CTE, and since it's Asian scale count, I'm going to alias with ASC. So let's say ASC, I want to select that. I want to select ASC dot scale name. ASC dot scale name, right? Oh, that's a mistake. So for our CTE, we want to order by S dot scale name. Okay, I corrected that. So now to figure out how many people have that scale. So first, I want to get the name of the scale. So that's ASC dot scale name, and I want to count. What do I want to count? I want to count I hope this is super clear. So from this table, I want to get that scale name, and I want to count by agent ID. How many agents? So let's call this agent count. Let's call this agent count. So obviously we've used two tables. So we've used the active Asians view, and we have also used the Asian scale count CTE in this, right? Because I already selected this one, the first column, which is from our CTE. So that means we'd have to have a join, right? So, but CTE has scale name, which is from this guy. So we'd have to find a way to connect them, because the agent's ID from our active Asians view has nothing to do with scale. So we are going to have to borrow scale rel and scales all over again. So I think we should just do that. I'm just going to copy this guy. Let me copy it. So I'll copy this and I'll bring it down here. So we want to join, like I said, scale rel on ID. I just hope this makes sense. We want the way to connect ASC to AA. So now that we have written this out, next we want to join Asian scale count. So just so that you don't overthink stuff. Okay, so now let's Asian scale count. I called it ASC, so we want to join it on ASC dot skill name equals s dot skill name skill name, right? Okay, so next we want to group by skill name. So this is an aggregate. I mean, you could just write group by. So, but it wouldn't make any difference because group by ASC dot skill name. So let's run this and see what we would have. So we have an error, syntax ASC. So let's see, let's give this an alias as count scale. Let's give this an alias. This is why we are running into an error. So instead of having this here, let's have count scale. So we still have like a pending error. So first off, if you'd notice, I just noticed this because this is like a keyword in SQL. It's not functioning as an alias. You can see that in the color of it. It's supposed to be blue, but it's something else. So let's add something. Let's say K, and let's add that here, right? Okay, K and K. This group by, like I mentioned, isn't really necessary because we have just one scale anyways. This is limit 1. So, I mean, whether you put it there or not is inconsequential. You may if you want. But just to simplify this, let me remove that. So let's try running that again. Oh, ASKC. So where is that? Asian scale count does not exist. Asian scale count doesn't exist. So having corrected that, instead of ASC, we have ASKC. So let's try running it again. So like I mentioned about the group by, you could remove it, you could just leave it there. It's inconsequential, and that's because we already have just one scale, but hey, it's there. So so I put it back there because for every time you see an aggregate, count, average, max, min, think of a group by, it doesn't hurt to put it. So this is what we have. Chemical warfare defense. That's the most prevalent skill that they have. And we have about 121 Asian agents who have this skill. So let's go through everything we have written. So this is our CTE. At the first time we tried to run this, it was throwing an error, and that's because we use count all instead in 2 instances, which is ambiguous. So we give this an alias and then replace this alias here. And the second thing that threw an error with this query was down here. So these are things you should check out on every time you get an error. For our Asian scale count, we said we gave it an alias of ASC, and didn't notice that the SQL interpreted it as ascending, like descending, DESC. It interpreted it as ASC, like ascending order. So it was throwing up errors until we changed that. Okay, until we changed that to ASKC. Let me plug up my system before this trips up. So let's take one more question. Then I would give one question for you. So the question we want to take says, of all the skills listed in the database, which skills are not possessed by any active Asian agent? So let me delete everything here. I want to start right over. Of all the skills listed in the database, so let's see. Of all the skills listed in the database, I just want to write this here. So how do we start? What's our plan? So first, it might be right to filter out all the Asian people skills. So that would put that in a CTE, and then would use would try to filter out what skills there are in the database that are not in those. So next CTE will be about Asian skills. So let's say Asian skills as, let's write something. So we want to select, from our skills table. Let's see what happens here. So we want to select skills name. So that's skill name. I want to select skill name, and we want to tie this to the Asians. So we're going to say from active Asians. Let's call that A as usual. And we want to join. We had written this piece of code before. I guess we'll just write it again. So I want to join SPY.SkillRel. Let's call it SR on SR skill ID. SR.skill ID. So let's see. We want to join SkillRel dot agent ID And we also want to join our scales table. So we have SPY.scale, let's call it S, on S the scale ID. Dot scale ID. So this is our CTE. We have a CTE that returns scales with the Asian activation view, right? So we call this CTE Asian scales, and we extract scale name from the scales table, but we want to join it to the activations views table. So we call activations and we look at scale and scale rel. We're already looking for this, but we have to find a way to connect it to the AA, right? It doesn't have scale ID either, so we connect to the scale rel, connect to agent ID because AA has agent ID, right? And then we connect the scale ID. So this is just what's going on here. So the next thing we do now is we want to, so this extracts all the scales that active agents have. So the next thing we want to do is to select all the scales. So let's call this from SPY.scale table S. I want to select all of them, and let's say we have a where statement where everything we selected not. So we're going to use a subquery now. Everything we have selected in s.scale, we want to find which of them that are not in this result. So to call up this result, we would have to say select scale from Asian scales. If this makes sense. I don't know why I keep typing A. Okay. So when you select scale from Asian scales, it gives you all the scales that all the Asian active agents have. So, but the not in it's kind of like subtraction. You take everything here, but you find those of them that are not here. So let's run this. It says 9 does not exist. S.scale, and they are right because we have scale name. That's a typo on my end. So yeah. So let's run that again. Scale does not exist. I used it again. Where okay. So yes, it has run. Oh wow. So we have nothing. So what this means is that there are no scales in the larger group that the active Asian agents do not have. So that's what we have here. There are no scales in the larger group that the active Asian agents do not have. Okay, that's interesting. So I have one last question, and this question would then be for you. So I'm just going to read it out. Show all agents their country, their salary, and the average salary for their country. Then you order your results by country. So I'll just put that down here. Show all agents. I think that's very simple with the agents table up here. But then there's a catch. You want to show all agents their country, their salary, and average salary. So how do you calculate average salary? So this means there would have to be another CTE that calculates for each country average salary. So I mean, just giving you a hint, you want to write a CTE with whatever name you want. As you select country, you select average salary from this table, and you want to group by country. So that's what happens. You want to group by country. So once you group by country, that finds the average for each country. Then that's your CTE. Then finally you write the query that combines this. So you want to select agent's ID, first name, last name, country, salary from agent's table, and you want to join it to the results from your CTE. Yeah. So you want to join it to the result from your CTE. You want to order by country, and that's it. We're going to end this video here. And in our next video, we will go on to explore SQL further. So if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.